Gosh, I'm trying to hold it in right now. The support's been overwhelming.
Tickets for Nashville this week are nearly sold out. We are calling this the Bryson effect.
I mean, with how much support we have out here, and it's just the start, that's a testament to what Live Golf is and what the Crushers are doing, what our team's doing, and what we're trying to do for Nashville and places all across the globe. So super excited for the future of Live.
It was nice to at least walk down the last few holes, or at least the last hole, knowing that it was pretty much done. It's never safe, but very proud of everybody, and of course Tiro. I mean, what a week to get his first win in a few years and win by 6 in an absolutely dominant performance the way he did. It was absolutely incredible, so I couldn't be happier for him.
Certainly with not winning for 3.5 years, you kind of naturally question if you can do it again. So I'm just proud of myself to be able to get through that and play the way I did.
Welcome to hour number 2, live right here on this Monday following Independence Day weekend. Happy 4th of July to you. Hope you had a lovely time over this weekend. Outside, backyard, summertime, hot dogs, all of that great stuff. It's been a very long time since we spoke, so we got to get you caught up on everything that happened this long holiday weekend. He is Donnie Rightside. I am Ben Stevens. 2 more hours to go up until 11 a.m. Eastern Time.
Yes, and yes. By the way, an hour down. We have, 2 more hours to go? I forget. It's been so long since we've done this show. But the energy is high today. I feel rested. Good. I feel ready. I feel intrigued about the card in Major League Baseball, the avenues that we're going to pursue over the next couple weeks leading into football season. So, yeah, you know what? This is kind of nice.
Beautiful.
Kind of nice today.
Beautiful, yeah. DRS. That's a beautiful, beautiful sentiment. Again, do not fast forward through summer, but understand that football is on the horizon. It gets a little quiet around sports this time of year. A lot of focus on Major League Baseball. We've got some other big events happening. Of course, next week is a very slow week after the All-Star game in Major League Baseball on Tuesday with a few days off. But then the Olympics at the end of this month starting over in Paris. Oui. That will be fun for us to break down and all of the odds that will be associated with them. Donnie, let's look back on this long weekend that was all around sports. This segment is going to be fun. Davis Thompson, a winner for the first time in his PGA Tour career yesterday, went real low this week at the John Deere Classic, including a front 9 29 yesterday to get the action starting at TPC or Deere Run in Silvis, Illinois, in the Quad Cities. A champion for the first time on the PGA Tour, Davis Thompson, the winner at the John Deere Classic.
How about, again, 28 under, which is pretty incredible. But you still got to be able to hit that ball in the green and make your putts in order to get that, because everybody knows, look, you could drive it long off the tee, you can hit it within 10 feet, you still got to wind up making those putts, and he made a ton of those. You take a look at his 4 rounds, 63, 67, 62, and 64. That is incredible here. But here's what you like, too, because we don't have that elevated event, Ben, right? $8 million total prize money. He makes $1.4 million, which is a ton, but also that is so big. That secures your tour card over the next couple of years on the PGA Tour. So even though you don't have the major names per se in this tournament, those wins all count the same, and that's a big-time win. And again, 28 under. That is incredible golf over 4 days.
And listen, it's been a little slow in the golf world in terms of those signature and elevated events. But this week, it's the Scottish Open, a ton of familiar names over in Europe getting ready for the Open Championship, the fourth and final major of the year. Not this upcoming weekend, but next weekend. Then into Olympic golf in Paris, a ton to get to. Now we go across the pond to Wimbledon on the grass, of course, of the tennis courts, the championship Wimbledon. Yesterday, a couple of huge upsets on the women's side that we'll talk about in just a moment. But some big men's matches on this Monday over in London. Novak Djokovic takes on Holger Rune. He is a hefty favorite at minus 315. One of the American men on to the fourth round at bare minimum. Taylor Fritz looking to pull the upset against Sasha Zverev. And as we look at the favorites, Jannik Sinner, the number one player in the world, the young redheaded Italian, plus 175, but followed closely by Carlos Alcaraz, the reigning champ, at plus 230. Novak Djokovic, third best number at plus 360, and there's Zverev at plus 750.
Yeah, a lot of big names still there on the men's side that are, as you quoted, Sinner, Alcaraz, and Djokovic. But you take a look on the opposite side with the women. I didn't even know Swiatek got knocked out of the tournament. So wide open at this point right now on the women's side. So it makes it kind of interesting here where if you're playing along, you still have that heavy favorite. But at the same time, I'm not recognizing a lot of these names in a major championship from the women's side. So many years of the Serena Williams domination, the Venus Williams domination, Swiatek, obviously, and a lot of other players. So somebody's going to get a victory there and well-deserved.
Some of those big seeds DRS knocked out over the weekend, including Iga Swiatek. Coco Gauff yesterday, losing in straight sets to fellow American Emma Navarro, who now has the second best price at plus 390. Her seventh appearance in a Grand Slam event, her seventh major appearance, her first time into the quarterfinals. She has had a great run at Wimbledon. She will take on Jasmine Paolini, in the next round. There is a thought outside of Elena Rybakina that Navarro could have that value right now at plus 390. But Elena Rybakina has the prestige. She was the winner in 2022 at Wimbledon. Our producer, Joe Frizo, when he was sitting here in this chair just over a week ago, told you to keep an eye on her price. Plus 550 entering the tournament. Third best number, now down to plus 145. We are into the semifinals at the European Championships, the Euros. And it's four powerhouses that still remain. Spain, the favorites, at plus 180. Is it coming home? The English, the second best price at plus 240. The French at plus 270 and the Dutch at plus 440. The four teams still remaining in the hunt for the European Championship in 2024.
Yeah, some big names still out there for sure. And also, I like the way that we're getting staggered here, Ben, over the next couple of days with some of these matches. Tuesday and Wednesday. Copa one day, obviously Copa the next day. Same thing with the Euros. So you're getting that even tilt where a game apiece in each one of these tournaments on Tuesday and Wednesday. I like that setup. And also, the big names are still out there. Argentina, Uruguay. And how about this? Canada. 26-1 price here to run wild and go through the Copas here. So we got some intrigue for some short prices with the favorites and some long shots that generally we're not used to seeing some of those names up there.
Those are the Copa America odds. And to Donnie's point, starting tomorrow, we have a ton of action on the pitch. 3 p.m. Eastern time. The first semifinal in the Euros. It is Spain in France. The Spanish side, a slight favorite to qualify for the final at minus 120. Different than the 90-minute match bet or anything that we will see for the specific game tomorrow. Then the nightcap on a Tuesday. Canada and Argentina. The Argentines, a minus 700 favorite, the reigning World Cup champs. But can the Canadians pull off a huge upset over Messi and Argentina? That remains to be seen. And even Pick'em DRS in the nightcap on Wednesday night. That's Colombia and Uruguay to qualify for the final at minus 110. Give us our Uruguay pronunciation that we need to know ahead of Wednesday night.
Uruguay. There you go.
Beautiful.
3 times.
Beautiful.
Man. Get on it.
That was beautiful. Minus 110, both for Colombia and Uruguay for that nightcap on Wednesday. The afternoon game at the Euros, 3 p.m. Eastern time. The Brits, I guess the English, excuse me, a heavy favorite at minus 138. Not heavy, but at least an odds-on favorite to advance to the final, where they were just a few years ago at the European Championships, looking for their first major tournament title since the early 1960s. Donnie Rightside, our soccer aficionado, I ask you, is it finally coming home?
Yep. Here's what you need to do, too. You want to win this. You want to go out on that pitch, and you want to say to yourselves, we need that emotional lift here. How about Wayne Rooney in that starting lineup? How about a little David Beckham in that starting lineup here? Why don't we do that? Let's bring them all back here and let it rip here, because, quite frankly, it could be coming home. But, by the way, before we come home on this here, Ben, let me just put it back with the golf for 1 second here. I want to be the commissioner. I want to be able to change rules here. Did you see who finished in a tie for second here? Luke Clanton, who's an amateur. He was set in line to make $712,000 with that finish, which he gets nothing because he's an amateur. Here's what I want to make the slight change to. Come in with an amateur status. If you win that golf tournament or place high enough there, you should be able to forego your amateur status on the spot and get that paycheck. He's got to feel terrible today, right? $712,000. You got nothing for that tournament? That's a tough scene, man. That just is.
Yeah, I would agree. Didn't know where you were going when you wanted to be the PGA Tour commish in these uncertain times, but I'd vote for Donnie Rightside over Jay Monahan. Just my personal estimation. I'm sure the guy you mentioned, I don't even remember his name, would vote for you if he could see over $700,000 as well. Pennant prices next. England survived yesterday in the Euro round of 16. They score into stoppage time, and then in extra time, they score the game winner.
You want to wait to the very final minutes? And I say this again, Ben. I don't know. I think you were here last year for my rant on this. Why don't we just play soccer the way you play it when you're down a goal with like 5 minutes to go?
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
I think the one comparison that I'd like to make that reminds me of Tiger is Scotty's ability to make shots on a Sunday look like shots on a Thursday. And Tiger was so good at doing that too. In the high pressure leverage moments, he didn't lose a step. You know, he was still able to hit it pin high. He's still knocking down flag sticks. He doesn't miss-hit it.
Only on SportsGrid.
You went to Alberta and, came back with a lot of different stories. I know that sports betting as a possibility, just like Ontario in 2022, we could see that.
The other big topic was Alberta, because sure enough, we've heard lots, and we've talked about it on here, that, a law was passed to allow the market to open up, and we were kind of waiting to see what was going to happen.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Watch out for USA and Canada in 4 years. Cricket's going to be a sport that's growing.
I made my first cricket bet last week or over the weekend. I was getting a team that was leading like 150 to 5 plus odds. I'm like, I'm up 150 points and I'm getting plus odds. Where do I sign? I love this cricket stuff. What are you kidding me?
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
Pennant prices around Major League Baseball. Exactly 1 week away from the start of the Major League Baseball All-Star break. A home run derby next Monday in Arlington, the Midsummer Classic the following night, and then a few days off around MLB. DRS, in our opening hour, we looked at the updated World Series odds with some reshuffling in the overnight hours. Now we do the same in the pennant prices. In the American League, despite no longer having the best record or being atop the American League East, the Yankees are still the favorites to win the AL pennant at this moment at plus 250, but only 50 cents in front of Baltimore. A 3-1 price on the O's. The Guardians have the best record in the American League, and yet the third best number at plus 600.
And you know what? I agree with the way these standings are falling, because you might say, it's wording I just used, the standings aren't matching up with what the odds market says, but that doesn't account for how much money's been accumulated here at the FanDuel Sportsbook over the past, let's just say, 6 months coming in on the Yankees and or the Orioles. Now, I'm not panicking here at the Yankees at that plus 250 price and say, I can't do that because they're 3 games back in the division now, and who knows where that's going to fall. You still, at the end of the regular season, we're not crowning the American League champion. You have to make the playoffs, then win the pennant in the American League to get that price point. You see the Yankees at plus 250 and the Orioles at a plus 300 price. I do believe by a wide margin. These are the best 2 teams in the American League and will fight for the pennant. I still think when it's all said and done, the Yankees will be the pennant winners, because I'm putting a lot of faith and a lot of trust in that front office for the Yankees. The reason I'm saying that is the propensity of that New York market compared to Baltimore. Baltimore has shown over the past couple years, hey, we'll let these guys go, and we're not going to spend a ton of money here. We're going to rebuild from our farm system. Now, they do have a new ownership group than what they had just a few years ago with the Angelos family. So I do expect a little bit more headway coming into the playoffs than you would in the past. It's like, just get them a random bat and see what they can do. They have enough wins on the season. We're a good ball club. But the pressure to win in that New York market where you know you just can't stand pat. So I'm trying to elevate myself and say, you know what? How do I evaluate the Yankees and the Orioles from here on out? Could the Orioles win the division? Absolutely, they have the lead. But when I get down to the playoffs and I see what these 2 teams are going to look like post-trade deadline, I'm still going to put my faith in the New York Yankees. But it's close. 2 of these teams, they're going to measure up here. They're going to get to the playoffs, and one of these 2 teams is going to win the American League pennant. And I still believe that team right now is the New York Yankees.
50 cents in front of Baltimore. The O's now a 3-game lead in the AL East, and now an odds-on favorite at minus 150 to win that division as of this moment. Of course, Baltimore last year, the young up-and-coming team in the AL, the number 1 overall seed in the American League postseason bracket, swept early and often in their wild card set, or in that second round set, I should say, against the Texas Rangers. Donnie, when you look at the Yanks, you mentioned the investment in the moves they will make as that trade deadline approaches in just a few weeks at the end of this month of July. The Yankees have not won the American League pennant since last winning the World Series in 2009. 5 appearances, though, in the ALCS in that span. Most recently in 2022, they were swept by the Houston Astros, I believe it was. If the Yankees are going to go in at the trade deadline, what is the biggest thing New York is missing right now?
I mean, you're waiting on Stanton to get back. I think the lineup is going to be fine. And again, as long as it's healthy. Like, we don't know if Stanton's, going to come back and be healthy. Obviously, we're saying that's going to be right. We don't know if Judge is going to go to the IL like he's done so many times in the past few years. Juan Soto might break down. We can't operate like that. I don't think they need all that many adjustments to the day-to-day lineup themselves. You are still looking for that front-line starting pitcher. Let's just say Garrett Cole is healthy the rest of the way and returns and regains his form of being one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball. You're counting on that for the Yankees. You can't replace that. But also, you got that start yesterday, Luis Gil. Even though he win the ballgame, it's like, okay, he's back to being a decent pitcher. What are we getting out of Nestor Cortez? But also, you would like to say, we signed Carlos Rodon to be that number 2 guy who can be a dominant pitcher. We haven't shown that. So you can't wait for that to happen. You might be able to wait on Garrett Cole, but I do think you need to add a number 2 quality pitcher to that Yankees team. They'll add bullpen arms. We know that already. They have a solid bullpen as is. They'll add to those arms. They need a number 2 pitcher that you can get and say to yourself, Ben, I don't have to see if it turns out in my favor. Let me play the hand I have. Let me go out something guaranteed and play that down the rest of the stretch. If they get that, I do believe they'll win the pennant in the American League.
So as we look at the rest of the top 10, of course, like we showed in the World Series odds, there is a large drop-off at a certain point outside of the top 6. 6, an important number. The 6 best teams, 3 divisional winners, 3 top teams in the wild card make the American League postseason. Yankees, Orioles, Guardians, Mariners, Astros, and Twins. Of those teams right now, DRS, the Astros would be the only one of the top 6 not into the postseason, still 3.5 games back of that third and final AL wildcard spot, currently occupied by the Red Sox, who have a 24-1 price, a $16 drop-off. You got to triple the number on Minnesota to get to Boston. That jump from 6 to 7. Is there value anywhere else in those pennant odds as you see it currently?
Yeah, again, I mean, I talked about, getting wild here with the Texas Rangers at that 30-1 price,
Right.
and I don't actually think they're a great team overall, but that price point is saying we actually don't think they probably will make the playoffs, which, again, if they do, that price point drops dramatically if they're one of the teams that makes it in by winning that division. And as we said, by winning the division, that gets you home field advantage right out of the jump here, and that's going to be key. But also, I take a look at teams like the Boston Red Sox at 20-1. You just saw them handle the New York Yankees. What are they going to do as an ownership group down the stretch here? Will they add a frontline starting pitcher, maybe a veteran bat to that lineup? Because there will be sellers at the deadline, and you have to make those shrewd moves. And unlike when I talk about the Cleveland Guardians at a 6-1 price, I would love for their organization to go out and really make that splash and say, this is a year I think we can win the World Series. Let's catch lightning in a bottle. The Red Sox have the ammunition to pay for extra players at the deadline and add to that salary cap. So that's one team to keep an eye on. But again, I still see the Houston Astros at a plus 750 price. They shouldn't even be close to that at this point, but here they are. And probably in 1 month, Ben, while we're so wrapped up in football season, about to get starting underway, hey, by the way, Donnie, the Astros are in first place in the AL West. Like, I'm waiting for that, which how many times I've talked about. You can't trust that Astros team, and yet here they are at a plus 750.
A plus 125 price to win the division, only 2 games back of Seattle. Individual races up next. England survived yesterday in the Euro round of 16. They score into stoppage time, and then in extra time, they score the game winner.
You want to wait to the very final minutes? And I say this again, Ben. I don't know. I think you were here last year for my rant on this. Why don't we just play soccer the way you play it when you're down a goal with like 5 minutes to go?
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
I think the one comparison that I'd like to make that reminds me of Tiger is Scotty's ability to make shots on a Sunday look like shots on a Thursday. And Tiger was so good at doing that too. In the high pressure leverage moments, he didn't lose a step. He was still able to hit it pin high. He's still knocking down flag sticks. He doesn't miss-hit it.
Only on SportsGrid.
You went to Alberta and came back with a lot of different stories. I know that sports betting as a possibility, just like Ontario in 2022, we could see that.
The other big topic was Alberta, because sure enough, we've heard lots and we've talked about it on here that a law was passed to allow the market to open up, and we were kind of waiting to see what was going to happen.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Watch out for USA and Canada in 4 years. Cricket's going to be a sport that's growing.
I made my first cricket bet last week or over the weekend. I was getting a team that was leading like 150 to 5 plus odds. I'm like, I'm up 150 points and I'm getting plus odds. Where do I sign? I love this cricket stuff. What are you kidding me?
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
We just showed you the American League pennant prices here on this Monday on the Early Line. 1 week out from the MLB All-Star break. We'll show you the National League pennant prices and get your take, that being the public, to start off our third hour. Now the individual races, Donnie, following the 4th of July weekend. and a long holiday weekend at that. Aaron Judge still remains the hefty odds-on favorite to win the AL MVP award if he is even healthy for a majority of the home stretch in second half of this season. He is going to win that MVP award in my estimation, minus 280, well in front of Gunnar Henderson, who is having a great season for Baltimore, but still behind Aaron Judge. Tarek Skubal putting on display yesterday why he is the front runner for the AL Cy Young Award. 13 strikeouts in a Tigers 5-1 victory over the Reds to complete the sweep. And as we shared, Donnie, breaking down that game, Skubal plus 110, Baltimore's Corbin Burns at plus 230, separated by just over $1. A large drop-off to Seth Lugo of the Royals at 14-1. Seems to be a two-guy race for the American League Cy Young hardware.
Yeah, we're getting separators right now, and rightfully so. Tarek Skubal fresh off another dominating performance yesterday. You know he's going to get that bump. But also, we'll take a look at the Baltimore Orioles now, a few games in first place lead over the New York Yankees in the AL East. Burns is every bit as deserving, and this just might come down to, once again, who's going to get those extra starts at the end of the season. Skubal's still a young pitcher in Major League Baseball. We don't think Detroit is going to make the playoffs. So in that final 3 weeks of the season, when they're de facto just playing out the string, are you going to allow him to get those final couple starts here to try to win that award? Or are you going to say, look, hey, those awards are going to come. You did enough work here over the summer. We're going to shut you down for those final 2 weeks when Corbin Burns might be pitching in the final weekend of the Major League Baseball season, Ben, in enough to win maybe the pennant or become a first-place team entering into the playoffs and win the AL East. That's something to keep an eye on. Getting back to the MVP race, it is Aaron Judge's to lose. Right now, also, that minus 250 is now turned into a minus 300 price on Aaron Judge. So it looks like all you're betting right now in the American League in that MVP race is, are you thinking that Aaron Judge is going to be healthy? And what I mean healthy is he could go in an IL stint for a week, maybe 2 weeks, and still get away with it, but you just can't have that devastating injury that's going to hamper his numbers. So if you're going to take a flyer on, let's just say, Gunnar Henderson, you're basically just betting that Aaron Judge is going to get hurt at this point because Judge is having a phenomenal season, and if the season ended right now, it's Aaron Judge in a runaway.
Minus 300 for Judge. We also have a hefty favorite to win the National League MVP award, minus 330 on Shohei Ohtani. In fact, we have Aaron Judge versus the field in the American League, Ohtani versus the field in the National League. Judge to win it in the AL, minus 300, the field plus 230. Ohtani to win it in the National League, minus 330, the field plus 250. We'll talk NL in just a moment. Donnie, I do want to highlight Stephen Vogt, who right now is the odds-on favorite to win the AL Manager of the Year at minus 130. The first-year skipper for the Guardians, the best team in the American League. Vogt is only 39 years old. If the name sounds familiar, it's because he wrapped up his Major League Baseball career in Oakland just 2 seasons back in 2022, playing on the diamond. Now he's leading Cleveland to the best record in the AL.
Yeah, long-time veteran catcher there, so certainly a player's manager, as you would know. And a minus 130 price is something that you might want to check into because if they do win that division, he's going to win that award. The only thing that could change is Cleveland drops back in the central race, and then you take a look and say, well, Alex Cora's Boston team was, for me, left for dead game number 1 in the Major League Baseball season, now 49-40, but they're not going to win the division, one would think, for Boston, so you don't get those extra bonus points. You probably have to win the division unless you're doing something spectacular on a team that nobody ever thought would do. So Stephen Vogt right now, certainly in first place. If they fall out of it, then it's going to be Alex Cora, I do believe, because it means Boston probably had a damn good season and made the playoffs when I didn't even expect that.
Now over to the National League. Should Shohei Ohtani, DRS, be this strong of a favorite to win the NL MVP award?
Yeah, he should be at this point because he is the best player right now. Now, granted, I say this. Bryce Harper's at a 91 price. He's going to come back, and he can certainly, shorten those numbers. But I always get a kick out of how is the actual betting public, and also how are the writers who vote on this thing going to take an opportunity to say, well, okay, if somebody's close to Shohei Ohtani in statistics, the everyday player is going to get the bump over Shohei Ohtani, who's just a DH at this point. If Shohei Ohtani was pitching to a 4.5 ERA, he'd be running away and be a minus 1,300 once again to win this award, but he's not. So I'm interested to see if Bryce Harper can come back after the All-Star break and make that a closer race, which I think he will.
When you look at the National League Cy Young Award, only 2 guys with a 3-digit price. Zach Wheeler plus 135. Chris Sale, a resurgence in Atlanta, Paul Skeens 50-1. The heavy favorites win National League Rookie of the Year. More TEL next. England survived yesterday in the Euro round of 16. They score into stoppage time, and then in extra time, they score the game winner.
You want to wait to the very final minutes? And I say this again, Ben. I don't know. I think you were here last year for my rant on this. Why don't we just play soccer the way you play it when you're down a goal with like 5 minutes to go?
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
I think the one comparison that I'd like to make that reminds me of Tiger is Scotty's ability to make shots on a Sunday look like shots on a Thursday. And Tiger was so good at doing that too. In the high pressure leverage moments, he didn't lose a step. You know, he was still able to hit it pin high. He's still knocking down flag sticks. He doesn't miss-hit it.
Only on SportsGrid.
You went to Alberta and came back with a lot of different stories. I know that sports betting as a possibility, just like Ontario in 2022, we could see that.
The other big topic was Alberta, because sure enough, we've heard lots and we've talked about it on here that a law was passed to allow the market to open up, and we were kind of waiting to see what was going to happen.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Watch out for USA and Canada in 4 years. Cricket's going to be a sport that's growing.
I made my first cricket bet last week or over the weekend. I was getting a team that was leading like 150 to 5 plus odds. I'm like, I'm up 150 points and I'm getting plus odds. Where do I sign? I love this cricket stuff. What are you kidding me?
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
A lot of basketball talk coming your way here in our second hour live on this Monday morning on the Early Line on SportsGrid. I'm Ben. Donnie's on the right side, and the man in the middle is James Young. Our coach, JY, to look at what happened this weekend in the NBA offseason and the summer. The debut of Bronny James, and not all that far away, just about 3 weeks until we get to Olympic basketball in Paris. Team USA at training camp this weekend in Las Vegas. It looks like an absolute dream team. Who would JY start, and what is the prospect over in Paris later on with our coach? JY, hope the long holiday weekend was great. Glad to have you here on this Monday morning.
Isn't it amazing? It's like the first week of July, and there's still so much hoops to talk about, especially LeBron James Jr. or Bronny. Oh, that jump shot needs a little bit of work.
One of these days we'll get to football, but for now it's still basketball here with our coach, James Young. So, JY, as we look at the weekend that was, since we've all been here live on the Early Line on the SportsGrid network, not many moves in the NBA, but the most notable in a sign-and-trade to Sacramento, DeMar DeRozan, now a member of the Kings, has been in the NBA for a decade and a half. 34 years old for the first time in California's capital. What does DeMar DeRozan add to this Kings roster?
Another proven scorer, a guy that can put the ball in the basket, scoring 24 points per game, a guy that can create his own shot. If you kind of look at, DeMar DeRozan and how he scores really well as a pick and roll ball handler. In Chicago, 37% of the time, Ben, he was in a pick and roll, which means he can kind of create his own shot. He also, about 20% of the time, he's going to be a spot-up shooter. So that means he could play alongside of De'Aaron Fox, where De'Aaron Fox can come off the pick and roll. You could put him and set him up for him to shoot. Also, good isolation scorer. 86th percentile as an ISO bucket guy. So this is a guy that can create on the pick and roll, that can knock down shots, and can play isolation game, which means, Ben, late clock, he can help him. What the concern, I'm going to be very honest with you, is he can score. The problem is that he doesn't shoot the ball really well from three. Like, if you look at it, he's only in a 45th percentile in three-point shots and points per possession, and his jump shots are only at 34% rate. So while he does play really well and score, I'm going to worry a little bit about the fit completely unless he's going to do a bulk of his scoring, Ben, when Fox is off the floor and he can create himself.
A lot of moving parts here, Coach, in the NBA throughout, and we're still going to see a lot of these moves being made in free agency. But let's take a look at Caleb Martin. The interesting part about this, he comes over to the Philadelphia 76ers and feels a need right away. But that's not really what I want to talk about with you. He turns down a 5-year, $65 million offer from the Heat to accept a Sixers offer at 4 years and $32 million. Why didn't he sign with the Heat? And then also, what does he do for the Philadelphia 76ers?
Here's the crazy thing, okay? And forget just the numbers of the contract. Here's the thing I don't understand. Ready? Florida, just like Texas, you guys know, no state income tax. So it's even more money if you think about it, right, Donnie, with the fact that he doesn't have to play state income tax in Florida that he has to play in Miami. Now, listen, it could be about playing time. It could be about fit. It certainly isn't about money because the money doesn't add up. To me, listen, Caleb Martin's going to help Philadelphia, and if they stay healthy, right, and if they can rebound, they are so dynamic offensively. My problem with them is defensively as a team, and now can Caleb Martin in long stretches guard fours? Can he guard Giannis? Can he guard Julius Randle? Can he guard Pascal Siakam? Like, can he guard these taller, bruising, not so much Siakam, but bruising bigs that can really just go over top of them? He can help them a lot. I'm worried about the defensive side and the rebounding. That's going to leave a lot of it on Embiid and Andre Drummond to take care of for Philadelphia.
JY, as Donnie just alluded to, there will be more transactions, there will be more acquisitions, and it sounds crazy that only a week old NBA free agency has really dried up with those notable players that will move markets. But just because there's not many robust free agents still available on the market does not mean we are not going to see some trades or some blockbuster deals at certain points in this offseason or over these summer months. Who is on your radar for some potential trades that could shake up the NBA entering next season?
Well, in regards to really quick free agencies, there are a couple. Paul Reed, backup big. Can he go somewhere, help a team out? Kyle Lowry, experienced point guard, vet minimum. Gary Trent Jr. can score, right? So when you look at, necessarily trades, I'm going to focus more on teams. Milwaukee, what are we doing here with Milwaukee, right? There's talk that Brook Lopez is available. Can Brook Lopez help another team, Ben, as a stretch five? Absolutely. Rim protector. So you look at someone like him. You got to go to Chicago when you look at now that DeRozan has left. Is the full rebuild on? They're trying to give away Zach LaVine. Like, think about this. They're attaching a first-round pick, Ben, and they still can't get rid of the guy. At some point, does some team look at him and say, maybe the Lakers saying, we can't go get anybody else. Let's go and maybe see if we get a fit like that. So you have to look at those guys with the big contracts and see if there's attachment to them. But to me, like, the Paul Reeds, the Lowrys, the Gary Trent Jr.'s, Tyus Jones, that's a really good guard that started in Washington. He was the premier backup guard in my position, thoughts when he was with Memphis. Where does he end up? So to me, there's still some free agent movement that has to happen. But some of those names like Lopez, LaVine would be the guys that would look at them maybe being moved if teams can't fill out their roster through via free agency.
Coach, we're taking a look here with the NBA. Maybe that, free agent frenzy is starting to die down, which means the summer leagues are starting to heat up. All eyes on the prize with the Lakers and Bronny James. What did we get out of his first career NBA quote-unquote start in summer league here?
Brother got to hit some shots. I mean, let's call it like it is. The kick and defend. We've talked about it. And we talked about it, before the draft, even during our draft show, even afterwards. Bronny James can defend at an NBA level. There's no questions about it, Donnie. Can he make shots? So this is a guy that if you just pull up his box score, 2 of 9, right? Missed all of his both free throws, all 3 of his 3-pointers, went 1 of 3 inside the lane, so he couldn't even finish around the basket. But then you start peeling back, right? You start looking at Bronny James last year at USC, right? Jump shot, 27th percentile. Catch and shoot, guarded, 7th percentile, right? 3-pointers, 21st percentile. Simply put, Bronny James, if he's going to be a player in this league, forget a player, a contributing member of an NBA team, he's got to hit perimeter shots. The defense is not going to carry him. If you're going to hang on his defense, and that's it, call him Frank Ntilikina. Oh, wait, he's not in the league. Call him Davion Mitchell. He just got traded. He's got to knock down shots because one-trick ponies don't work in the NBA.
And Bronny James is going to be in the league late last week, signing a multi-year, 4-year, fully guaranteed deal that will start his NBA career as a member of the Los Angeles Lakers, not just their summer league team or transition two-way between the G League affiliate in the South Bay and Los Angeles. He is a member of this Lakers organization from the very jump. JY, give me another name that we should be paying attention to throughout summer league here to start.
Oh, Khalil Ware. You see what that brother did last night? I mean, everything, it makes me sick as a Knicks fan. You know why? Everything Pat Riley does in a draft works out. Jaime Jaquez, work out. Khalil Ware, work out. Here comes Paul Larson. He's going to work out. I'm sick to my stomach over these darn Miami Heat.
Khalil Ware in the California Classic yesterday, 26 points, 11 boards. Now we go Team USA up next. England survived yesterday in the Euro round of 16. They score into stoppage time, and then in extra time, they score the game winner.
You want to wait to the very final minutes? And I say this again, Ben. I don't know. I think you were here last year for my rant on this. Why don't we just play soccer the way you play it when you're down a goal with like 5 minutes to go?
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
I think the one comparison that I'd like to make that reminds me of Tiger is Scotty's ability to make shots on a Sunday look like shots on a Thursday. And Tiger was so good at doing that too. In the high pressure leverage moments, he didn't lose a step. You know, he was still able to hit it pin high. He's still knocking down flag sticks. He doesn't hit it.
Only on SportsGrid.
You went to Alberta and came back with a lot of different stories. I know that sports betting as a possibility, just like Ontario in 2022, we could see that.
The other big topic was Alberta, because sure enough, we've heard lots, and we've talked about it on here, that a law was passed to allow the market to open up, and we were kind of waiting to see what was going to happen.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Watch out for USA and Canada in 4 years. Cricket's going to be a sport that's growing.
I made my first cricket bet last week or over the weekend. I was getting a team that was leading like 150 to 5 plus odds. I'm like, I'm up 150 points and I'm getting plus odds. Where do I sign? I love this cricket stuff. What, are you kidding me?
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
Training camp for the guys this weekend in Las Vegas. The Team USA Olympic men's basketball roster And boy, it looks good. LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Joel Embiid, everybody walking through the halls in Las Vegas to get reacquainted and get ready for Paris in the Olympics, starting in just a few weeks. JY, let's look at the odds, and it should be no surprise with the roster of the names that I just listed, and it continues to go from there. Steph Curry, Anthony Edwards, Kawhi Leonard, the list goes on and on, that the Americans are nearly a minus 400, a $4 odds-on favorite at minus 390. Is the price fair? Should Team USA run away to an Olympic gold medal?
Ben, yes, they should, but here's the caveat that people need to understand more than anything. Once you get to the medal round, all it takes is 48 or 40 bad minutes of basketball, and you go home. As well, they are an overwhelming favorite, Ben. I got to be honest with you. I still have two concerns with this team. Three concerns. One, they're a little bit older. If a team wants to get up and down with them, let's say Canada, can they keep pace with a team that could be younger and more athletic? Two, rebounding. We're going to talk about eventually if they play France. I mean, I watched over the weekend. What Wemby's doing is like, it's extremely scary to watch as an American because he could carry the team to the gold medal, but you're going 7-4, 7-1, high-low? Like, how do you defend that? That's not even possible. So there's that, and then there's perimeter shooting. You've lined up. Yes, we have one of the greatest shooters of all time in Steph Curry. Where are the other guys that are marksmen? Knock down three-point shooters. Devin Booker, pull-up guy. Durant, pull-up guy. Ant, pull-up guy, right? LeBron, not really. Kawhi, pull-up guy. They could shoot it, but that's not what they're known for. If they struggle from three and a team gets hot, then they can get picked off. Should they win it? Yes. Should they be the favorite? Yes. Can they get picked off? Still, absolutely.
Team USA right now assembling in Las Vegas. Why? Because they probably wouldn't go to Omaha and have a training camp. They probably wouldn't go to Indianapolis. They wouldn't show up. So smart move by Team USA in Las Vegas where the players want to be and are training strong. Yeah. Now, let's forget about that point for a second and let's get to Team Canada here. 10-1 price here, Coach. Why don't we take a look at Canada in that second pole position right now at the FanDuel Sportsbook? What does Canada bring to the table with their team?
Well, they bring height. As far as I know, my man Big Zach Edey's going to be in the present. So let's see Big Zach right off the bat at 7'4". Let's see who can go ahead and stop him. But when you look at a team like Canada, they do have some guys that can create off the bounce. And it's a star-studded team. You can just look at SGA and what he could bring and how much he could score. Dylan Brooks, someone that's tough defensively, but could do some other things off the bounce. RJ Barrett. They got a guy like Lou Dort, who's one of the best defenders in the world. Oh, by the way, forgot about Andrew Nemhard, what he did in the playoffs. Jamal Murray, what does he do in big spots? Kelly Olynyk, seasoned pro. Dwight Powell, okay, maybe. But they got guys there on this team that could make a run. So to me, now it's interesting what happened with I'm still missing Andrew Wiggins, so I guess the Warriors won the battle of him not playing. But still, Canada, solid second team along with France in this pool for the Olympics.
The Americans nearly a $4 odds-on favorite, and then everybody else a four-digit price. Canada 10-1, France and Serbia at 14-1. What Victor Wembanyama did in Olympic qualifying for the French, oh boy. And of course, the Serbians have the best basketball player on planet Earth, in my estimation. That would be Nikola Jokic. JY, let's look at the roster now for Team USA. You mentioned some of the weaknesses. Here's a projected depth chart of sorts. Steph Curry would be the starter at the point guard spot. Anthony Edwards told everybody in Las Vegas this weekend, I'm still option number one. They got to fit in around me. You can't knock the confidence of that young man, the Ant-Man. LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and then Joel Embiid at the center spot. When you look at the roster and the 12 guys that will make up the dream team in 2024, who would you start at each spot, 1 through 5?
Well, I would go with Steph at the point. Obviously, two, that's one of the big toss-ups. Is it Booker or Ant-Man? I kind of like Ant-Man's confidence, to be honest with you, so I probably would go with Ant. Small forward, we would go with LeBron. Power forward, another tough one. Do you go with, I think they're going to do the loyalty factor at first, and that would be Durant. Now, the center position is where it gets interesting to me. Because it's almost like three different kind of guys, right? Like low post threat, Embiid. You know, a guy that is freakishly athletic, and Anthony Davis, who is probably the best defender, Bam Adebayo. I think the center position and even the whole combination, Ben, can be predicated on who we play. If we play a team, like France, there's no way you can't go with two bigs off the jump. So that could probably be, to me, probably Bam or AD along with Joel at center. Then you move LeBron to the small forward position, and then you play from there. So to me, while you have a set starting lineup, I do think if you're Steve Kerr, you have to look at matchups, look at what other teams do well, and counteract that, because that is the key also, getting off to good starts. Because when you're an American team, you want to punish teams early. You don't want to give teams hope that they can hang around. So you got to be flexible in your starting lineup, Ben, and who you put out there based off who you play to give yourself the best start and also the best chance to win.
I'll take it from here as we approach that 1 minute mark. JY, any of those long shots around the Olympic odds outside of Team USA? You mentioned who might be able to pick them off on a good day. How about Team Japan? Keisei Tominaga makes the Japanese Olympic team. The Puerto Ricans into the Olympic field, that 12-team field set this week. Jose Alvarado, Carlos Arroyo, the skipper for the Puerto Ricans. Any long shots that might make some upsets happen in Paris?
Australia seems to always play pretty well, so they're intriguing. But all I got to know is this. If we see Carlos Arroyo show up with Puerto Rico, folks, duck. Just look back to 2004, what happened when that guy ran circles around Marbury and a bunch of guys, and they beat us. If he shows up and plays, maybe a little bit of a trouble.
But that led to the redeemed team. So all good things stem from Carlos Arroyo. The WNBA Rookie of the Year race is contentious up next. England survived yesterday in the Euro round of 16. They score into stoppage time, and then in extra time, they score the game winner.
You want to wait to the very final minutes? And I say this again, Ben. I don't know. I think you were here last year for my rant on this. Why don't we just play soccer the way you play it when you're down a goal with like 5 minutes to go?
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
I think the one comparison that I'd like to make that reminds me of Tiger is Scotty's ability to make shots on a Sunday look like shots on a Thursday. And Tiger was so good at doing that too. In the high pressure leverage moments, he didn't lose a step. You know, he was still able to hit it pin high. He's still knocking down flag sticks. He doesn't miss-hit it.
Only on SportsGrid.
You went to Alberta and came back with a lot of different stories. I know that sports betting as a possibility, just like Ontario in 2022, we could see that.
The other big topic was Alberta, because sure enough, we've heard lots and we've talked about it on here that a law was passed to allow the market to open up, and we were kind of waiting to see what was going to happen.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Watch out for USA and Canada in 4 years. Cricket's going to be a sport that's growing.
I made my first cricket bet last week or over the weekend. I was getting a team that was leading like 150 to 5 plus odds. I'm like, I'm up 150 points and I'm getting plus odds. Where do I sign? I love this cricket stuff. What are you kidding me?
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
Before we debate who should win WNBA Rookie of the Year, let's highlight the excellence we have seen out of both Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese in their first 20 or so games in their WNBA careers. There was some thought, JY, with this young momentum carrying over into the W from historic and prolific college basketball careers, that maybe it would take CC some time or Angel Reese a couple of hard knocks to learn their way in the WNBA. Not so much historic starts to their WNBA careers. We start with Angel Reese. Last night, her 13th consecutive double-double. That's 13 in a row. The new all-time record for the most double-doubles consecutively in WNBA history. Single season or even into multiple seasons. That record now belongs to Angel Reese. What has been the best part of Reese's game adapting to the W level?
Tell you what, she attacks the offensive boards like something I've not seen in a long time. And I think her ability to attack the offensive boards and rebound what we call out of her area, meaning not right in front of her. She moves left and right and she chases rebounds. Her ability to do so has been fantastic. Ben, to me, that's been the best part. And the worry I had with Angel earlier on is her ability to finish. Well, she's starting to finish better. Listen, does she have some games where she struggles? But you know, she's got her shooting percentage up to 42%. That may not look good. Folks, it was at 35% before this streak started. So she's starting to finish a little bit better around the basket. She's shooting 75% from the free throw line. And the team has been competitive. I know they lost to Seattle last game, but she has been really competitive, playing really well, and she's finishing around the basket. And if she can finish with the rebounds, that makes her really dangerous, up to 14.1, 11.9 this season.
WNBA has to love this, Coach. If the season ended today, both the Fever and the Sky would be in the playoffs. They would love to have all of those eyeballs on these tremendous rookies heading into the playoffs, which brings us up to Caitlin Clark, historical things as well. The first rookie in the WNBA to collect a triple-double, now averaging 16, 7, and 6 per game. Talk about her as compared to Angel Reese at this point. Both of them playing well, but also Caitlin Clark coming around here, playing some great basketball also.
She's playing great. And let's be honest, guys, like, I don't know if I can say this the right, I'm going to say it. She didn't even play that great shooting the ball. She shot 3 of 12 from 3, which means she only missed one shot inside the lane, so inside the 3. So to me, she still has ways that she can get a little bit better. But what is she doing? Her assist to turnover ratio is getting better, right? But to me, as well as she is playing, I think, Donnie, the fact that other players around her are starting to play better. Aaliyah Boston had 18 and 8 in that win. Nalissa Smith had 12 points. Kelsey Mitchell hit some shots. So to me, Caitlin now doesn't have to feel like she's got to be at Iowa where she's got to give you 25, 30 points a game to win. She can give you 17, 18 points, but she can get you 8, 9, 10 assists. She can give you 7, 8, 9, 10 rebounds, and she can impact the game in other ways. She needs other players to be able to score to help her. As they are doing that, Indiana is winning, and obviously this is what the biggest performance is, not just the fact that she had a triple-double, but a comeback win versus the best team in the WNBA. That was a monumental performance by the entire Fever team.
9-13, the number for Indiana, slightly better than that win percentage for Chicago, 8-12 for the Sky. There has only been 38 triple-doubles in the history of the WNBA since 1997. Caitlin Clark, in only 22 WNBA career games, has one of those 38. And she is still a favorite at minus 360 to win the WNBA Rookie of the Year, but the gap is tightening, and the number on Angel Reese specifically is shortening as well. JY, at this moment, who wins the WNBA Rookie of the Year award in your estimation?
I thought Reese was coming until the triple-double. They kind of shut it down because it was against the Liberty. I still think it's Caitlin Clark, and I'll go on record saying this right now. Indiana, Chicago, both make the WNBA playoffs. They'll probably be in that 7-8 seed. Dallas, terrible, they're not going to make it. Washington, not going to make it. Sparks, not going to make it. Atlanta Dream, not good enough. They make it, and honestly, that is exactly what the WNBA is going to want to see.
The Fever now minus 770 to make the postseason. Chicago minus 235. The odds outlook backing up what our coach JY has to say. A fadeaway to the break, and hour number 3 on the horizon. On the other side, come back and join us on the early line.